Welcome to the Cleaning Up Business Podcast. My name's Chris Guilfoyle and I'm going to be your host. In every episode, we're hoping to bring you industry leaders from a wide variety of service sectors, disruptors within their industry, and day-to-day entrepreneurs with some business and life lessons for you guys to take away. Let's jump in to today's episode.
Someone talks about you in a positive way, I think you're 80% there.
In the cleaning industry, people buy from people.
And then I really learned how to make money, what matters, what levers you push and pull. And
sometimes you've just got to be able to get the job done. So after such an extensive career at such a big corporate company, how did that start to come to an end? Did you finally give you a bit of a reset?
Oh, massively. We've got into festival work.
Oh, wow.
This year we did Boomtown. But yeah, that was hard work. Lots of opportunities, lots of things to do, lots of great ideas. I don't think the cleaning industry gets the respect it deserves. I don't miss what I've never had.
Welcome back to another episode of the Cleaning Up Business Podcast with me, Chris Guilfoyle. Today I have Shaun Brogan with me from BeGreen.
Yep. BeGreen Cleaning.
BeGreen Cleaning. I'm going to let you guess what their USP is. Shaun, thanks for coming down today. As always, we go all the way back to the start with our guests. So tell us a little bit about yourself before you got into the notorious world of cleaning.
Thank you. Well, firstly, thanks for having me on.
No, welcome. Thank you for coming down.
Appreciate it, and I love what you do.
Thank you. Thank you to Joe for the recommendation as well.
Yeah. So before I started BeGreen Cleaning, I worked for a company called Greenhams, who sold safety equipment mainly into the construction industry, and I joined that at 16 years of age in the warehouse and worked my way onto the trade counter, then upstairs onto the phones.
Literally straight out of school then into the
Pretty
phone.
much. Yeah. Well, I went to college for 3 months, which was a wasted 3 months because...
Didn't like it?
Well, as soon as they said, if you can't make it, that's fine, just tell us the next time you're in.
Yeah. Which
was a complete sea change from school. So I was like, oh, right, well, I won't come in tomorrow. And I didn't come in for a long time and I just popped in and out. Eventually one teacher said, look, you're wasting your time, go do something else. So my brother very kindly got me a job there because he worked there at the time. And as I say, I sort of worked my way up into the office, worked on the telephone sales, looking after accounts, that sort of stuff. I left because I was a young man. It was the first job and you kind of think you know it all.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Can't be me wrong, must be the rest of the world. So I left, did a little bit of work as an electrician. Don't ask me why.
Because there's loads of money in being an electrician. That's what everyone says, isn't there?
Well, there is a load of money in it, but it is a bit feast and famine. So you can kind of go out and go, right, start at 4 a.m. We work until 7. And you go, wow, I've earned £1,000 this week. Yeah. Then you don't work for 10 days. So when you average it out, you go, actually, it's not great money. So I did that for a bit and then it dried up. Then I worked for my wife's family. They had a takeaway, like a newsagent's hot food shop, that sort of stuff. Okay. So I went in and helped them run it. And that was really good, actually, because there's a couple of things there. If you don't bring the money in, you don't get paid. Yeah. And actually what I had learned in my job at Greenhams and all that is profit margins, delight the customer, that sort of thing. So I started working there and I built the business up to roughly £1,000 a day. When I got there, I was doing about 250. So not just me, it was everybody, but I was trying to drive it to make sure it worked. And ultimately, I wanted to buy the business because I wanted to move on and get on with my life. And understandably, they didn't want to sell it to me because it was theirs. Yeah. And I said, okay, that's fine. And in the interim, I'd started a sandwich round because if you don't get enough people through the door, go to them. I was doing a sandwich round at my old employer, Greenhams. And the manager was still the manager that I knew. And he sort of said, how you doing, all that? And I said, yeah, I'm all right. And he said, have you learned anything? And I said, yeah, I've learned loads now. I kind of understand could have been me and not and he just laughed and he said, look, do you want to come back? And I thought about it. I said, yeah, okay, I'll come back. And then so I went back in on the phones. Then I went out on the road as a rep, did that for a while. And then I ended up being the manager of the whole branch. Yeah. I did that for...
How did you find that? How did you find that retail experience? Sounds like you was in that a couple of times on the counter, then with your takeaway business. Yeah. Is that a good field to be in for anyone starting out? Because I've been told there's no better experience than retail because you're dealing with people all the time. In many different scenarios. Did you find that valuable?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I found it really valuable because it's very instantaneous.
That's what I mean.
And I think in you know what we do now, even with clients or getting new, that's kind of a right. I'm going to email them. I'm going to ring. You build up to it, or I know where they go. I'm going to go network there. This is walk in, got what I want. No, off I go, and you kind of go. I need to preempt all of that.
Yeah.
So it was quite an experience. The real thing for me was the transaction of the money in, money out, understanding where it goes, and thinking actually that costs us quite a lot of money to do that. And how can I take the cost of that down, but keep the quality the same, things like that. And that was a really good experience. Definitely when it's your own money, it's a different thing.
Yeah, of course. No, that's all right, mate. That time of year. So you've gone back into green rooms in a sales capacity, a starting one. Another great area to be in to learn a business. How did you find that on the telephones?
I loved it. It was easy, yeah. I've
handle rejection, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got to, haven't you?
Of course.
Got to have skin like a lizard.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, it's not a problem to me. I mean, I'm the one that will ask the question no one else asks.
Yeah.
You just got to do it. So I found that straightforward, and I found it easy to get a rapport going with people.
Yeah. That's half the battle, isn't it? Especially in our field.
Yeah.
I find people, no matter what anyone says, and we spoke about this off camera before we started, about, you know, various different USPs that everyone goes around with. In the cleaning industry, people buy from people. And that's the bottom line. I honestly, unless you're talking multi-million-pound contract with a big tender process, okay, there might be some other variables in that. But 9 times out of 10, in 80% of cleaning, they're buying into you and the person, in my eyes. And obviously, your experience in the sales area must have held you in good stead for when you come over. So what else did you develop into greening? Because you were there for what, 20-odd years?
Yeah, I was there a long, long time. I eventually became a board director. And then I really learned, for want of a better word, how to make money, what matters, what levers you push and pull, and that's always put me in good stead. So I've never really worried about making money or getting money.
It's interesting.
And I look at, as an older man now, I look back. I mean, I did my father did the fruit and vegetables. So, you know, do I mind selling? You know, as a 7-year-old, trying to convince people to buy cauliflower. You know, there are no features and benefits of a cauliflower, I can assure you.
It doesn't even taste nice.
I don't know anyone who eats it on its own.
Yeah.
You eat it with something. So, you know, my father would go, get rid of those for us, and you go out the front. And so, you know, selling technical garments or anything like that was like, there's so many features and benefits. This is easy.
Yeah.
A cauliflower or a potato, that's quite difficult to say to somebody, you need that. So it's easy, but Bunzl or Greenham, because Bunzl bought them.
I remember when that happened. Actually. I was with OCS when that happened.
Yeah. Well, OCS are a big client of Bunzl.
Yeah, and I remember that period where they bought them out.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about your time at Greenham's, because obviously you've gone from, you know, entering in the shop floor literally to near the top of the business at the end of the day, which is no mean feat. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about everything in between there.
Well, again, I think my success at Greenham was because I did know how to make money. Yeah. So I made a lot of money as a salesman. Okay. A huge amount of money for the company. Yep. And a lot for myself. You know, I got a couple of bonus payments where, and it was when Bunzl purchased Greenham. They had a completely different scheme that was based on how much you made. Right, you get a cut of it. Okay. And I remember the first one I got, I didn't touch it because I thought someone's made a mistake here. Yeah. And I left it in my bank for 3 months. Yeah. And then I got paid again, a relatively similar amount. And I was like, oh no, that's my cut of the profit. Yeah. So it was, to me, it was like, oh, okay. So if I make you that, I get that. And for me, it just fell away. And I was like, that's what it is. Yeah. And I just ran off with it, so to speak. And I think, you know, if you're doing well at things like that, you get noticed. So when the management of the branch came, I went for it and I got that. And I did that for 4 or 5 years. And I still managed a lot of the key clients because I knew them and they were quite big.
That relationship there as well, haven't you?
Yeah, you can't walk away and you never leave them. And then I did that well. And then my boss retired. And I went for the role and I got the role. And then I ended up with 10 businesses that reported into me, or branches.
Right, okay.
And I travelled the country and I did that. And that was good. That was good. And I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed leading the people and motivating a team. I think, that's one of the most rewarding things you can do is take somebody and develop them to where you go, they're better than they thought they could ever be. Yeah. And I really quite like that.
Is that a plus side of the corporate world? Obviously, we're going to get onto like the entrepreneurship side of things, but everyone, I do feel a lot of people, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
Having your own business, 100%. And everyone gets blindsided by, it's fashionable to be an entrepreneur. But there is value in being what I call an intrapreneur. So someone like yourself that's gone through the corporate ladder, as you say, and there's many people you uncover during that journey
It's fantastic. Yeah. It's fantastic. It's massively enjoyable, rewarding. Oh yeah, it's really good. It's really, really good. And you have to be a certain person, because what you're trying to do is develop individuals that can stand on their own 2 feet, but respect the wishes of the organisation or what you want.
Yeah.
So you can't mute people, but you also have to get them to toe the line. It's quite a skill, if you know what I mean. To say to somebody, no, you need to, it's on you to make it work, but I still need you to do that and that.
Yeah,
and that.
and do it in this certain
but
manner.
It's rewarding.
Yeah. What was the number one skill that you would look for in people when you were looking?
Who, me?
Yeah. So as you was looking at someone and going, actually, this person's got some real potential. What were them things that would stand out for people?
Well, there's a couple of things for me. I think I can teach anyone within reason to do anything other than to want to.
Okay.
You got to bring that to the party. Yeah.
If they don't want to learn. Yeah.
Well, if they don't want to make it work.
Yeah.
I can't give them motivation, but I could show them how to close it, or get someone to do it. So that's one thing. I think the other thing as well is I used to, when I interview people, and some people used to laugh, I used to push them to the point I was unreasonable.
Okay.
Because I want them to go, you're unreasonable.
Yeah.
Because I used to need them to go, well, you're not fair. That's not quite true. And because if they can't do it for themselves, they can't do it for me when they're running their business.
Yeah. Did you get any interesting stories with that? Did you keep any people walk out?
I made someone cry.
Oh God.
And I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
But they lied.
Yeah.
And I didn't attack them, but I jumped. I caught the lie.
Yeah.
Said, that's not what you said 5 minutes previous.
Yeah.
And they just fell apart. And I was like, that. I'm not trying to.
High pressure scenario.
I'm just trying to get to who you are.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. I need to know who you are.
Yeah.
Because if I give you this job and it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for me. And the last thing I want is for you to have a job that's going to hurt you and it's not going to help the business.
Oh, of course. How did you find working at a higher strategic level within Greenham's Bunzl?
I enjoyed it. Yeah. I enjoyed it. It changes over the years because what you find is the strategic needs of a business suddenly become aligned. So I think the thing that sort of started to eat away at me a little bit was I had control, say, of my region and pretty much what went on in it. But, there'd be strategic deals on lorries and things like that because the business would buy 1,000 plus a year. I can't go off and buy my own. And all those things made sense. But processes and procedures started to be formalised across the group, which I do get because on the group picture, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And it adds a lot of value and I get it. But when you start getting down to a level where you're asking people to do stuff, you kind of go, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
I know for the greater good it does, but it doesn't work.
In reality, on the floor.
Yeah, for this part of the business.
Yeah, I understand that.
And that's quite difficult to navigate. Yeah. When you go, that's not quite. Particularly when you've come through, so you go, I know we need to do it that way, or I know this is how it's done.
And that's why I think a bottom-down, bottom-up approach is always the best for everyone that comes through, in my eyes. Because I think through my time, through a large cleaning company, one of the largest in the world now, seeing it actually operationally versus coming in at mid-management and above, and you're never getting that, you're just taking people's words for it. You can highlight things like that because sometimes in big corporates, what someone says at the top doesn't, like you just alluded to, doesn't necessarily align to what really goes on in reality down below.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
And it has to be done. They're just our consequences that have to be acknowledged and say, well, that's not going to work quite right, or that's not going to happen the way we used to because of that. And that's fine if we're going to do it, but you've got to make sure that these people are aware of it and that we understand that. And that's difficult to do. But I do think as well, coming through a business is good. I think also there is a bit to be said, though, for bringing in talent.
Yeah, of course.
Because otherwise you're a little bit insular. Yeah. So you only know what you know.
Of course.
And those people can be super talented. But every now and again, you should bring in.
Yeah, and I think, like you alluded to, where you get these people in that come in with new ideas and that are, have got real potential. I think you need that. But what I'm saying is we need to, I think you've got to have a core understanding of what goes on ground level, because otherwise you're implementing processes and procedures that, like you've alluded, like necessarily, we spoke about it off camera as well. Sometimes you've just got to be able to get the job done. Yeah. And, there is that fine line between, a heavy management approach up here and processes and procedures and being very corporate.
Yeah. And I can't be fair. I've got to be fair. It's never heavy handed.
Yeah.
But it does make strategic sense.
Sure.
The best way I can describe it is, you're running a Rolex and the market says, oh, we like iWatches because we're digital and fancy.
Sure.
We go, yeah, but we're a classic watch.
Sure.
So let's keep the classic watch, but let's develop a sexy digital Rolex on the side. Yeah. If you start trying to take a Rolex and turn it into just a digital, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
No. And sometimes that can happen.
Yeah.
And you think that's just going to pain and suffering for everybody.
Yeah. Any real challenges in your corporate career that you can think back on? Any times where you thought, oh, this isn't for me, actually?
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Any that stand out?
Yeah. Yeah, there is one in particular. We had a discussion about, it's quite a small one actually, but it resonated with me for quite a while.
That's what I mean, yeah, it's personal impact.
We gave quite a lot of money to charity.
Okay.
Very generous.
Yeah.
And we just had an impromptu discussion about which charity to give it to. Because it sort of then became, can we get more bang for our buck if we give it to them?
Yeah.
And that really bothered me because I'm like, well, we're going to give to charity. We should give it to the most worthwhile charity. Now, I never used to think like that, and I never felt like that when I was younger. But as I got a little bit older, I just thought we should give that money to wherever it makes the most impact, not where it necessarily
benefits you,
us,
company.
Yeah, that's marketing.
Yeah, cool. Of course.
And I'm happy, but I'd say, well, let's just do that as marketing then.
Yeah,
because that's really marketing in my mind. Charity is charity.
Yeah.
And we should find the most worthy cause that resonates with us all and give it to that.
Yeah.
Not go on. I wonder if.
And that's the other side of the corporate world, isn't it?
It's understandable though.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. Anyone that's been in that world, it goes on, and there are reasons and logics behind that. And we understand that as part of.
But it really bothered me far more than I realised at that time.
Okay.
It's sort of, when you just, something latches in your brain, and you're thinking, I'm comfortable with something. And it was that. And I thought, I really don't like that.
So after such an extensive career at such a big corporate company, as say, who I'm very familiar with, how did that start to come to an end?
They had some management changes at the seat above me.
Yeah.
And I think what started to happen was I'd been around the block a few times.
Okay.
So, when someone says, let's do it this way.
Yeah.
And you think, that's not going to work, is it? Because I've been around this block 7 times.
And we've tried that 6.
And it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably a problem for me deep down, where I thought, oh, no, I'm not so sure about that. And as I said, this is all with hindsight.
Yeah.
So at the time, you don't necessarily... So I look back now and I think it was that for me, where I was like, we've done this and we've done that. And, there's the phrase, if you want to dig more coal, go and ask them on the coal face.
Yeah.
And as new management people come in and new techniques, should I say, it was more, let's tell them what to do. And I'm like, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
If they say to us, I tell you what, give us a bigger shovel, we should give them a bigger shovel. And I think that started it for me, where I was like, I'm not sure this is.
Yeah.
But I'm an incredibly loyal man, fiercely loyal. And, you know, I love my time there, but it was time for a change for me.
I think you know, don't you, deep down?
I didn't, yeah. I knew something was bothering me.
Yeah.
And again, with hindsight, I look back now and think, oh, yeah, it was that. Because I don't feel that anymore. Yeah. But when you're in the throes of it,
of course,
you know.
And you've been there for so long as well.
Yeah.
It must have been a tough decision. So you opted to leave Greenham's, Bunzl. What happened in between?
Well, I had an amazing 6 months. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I did, yeah. So I took 6 months off.
Lovely.
And you know when people go, I just got to work, I've got to keep busy. I really didn't have that problem.
At least you're honest, mate, yeah.
I was like...
I couldn't imagine not being at work. I could.
I lost 6 stone in weight.
Yeah.
So I got myself a bit fitter because I had this sedentary lifestyle of office, drive. I did 40 odd thousand miles a year, hotels 3 nights a week. When you go to a hotel, you tend to have 3 courses.
Yeah.
Then a cooked breakfast. So I just started walking, started doing a load of steps, and over a period of about a year, I lost 6 stone.
Wow, well done.
Yeah, it was amazing. Put a lot of it back on now. So that was really good. And I not a lot of people know this, but I was just walking around the estate and there's a TK Maxx. I used to walk in there when it was raining and they had some Christmas things up there. And I thought, if I don't do something, I'm going to go mental. Yeah. So I said, oh, can I work for Christmas? And they interviewed me and sort of said, why?
Yeah,
what are you doing there?
Like,
and I was like, I just want something in the evenings to keep me busy. And I mean, literally, it was 5 minutes from here.
Yeah.
So do you know what? I did 2 nights there, maybe 3 nights there, and I can't tell how much I loved it.
You enjoyed it?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was refreshing to come in and just go, I'll work, that's fine.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? Rather than go, we're going to go do this.
Not so much leading from the front, and there's not, I imagine, not as much brain capacity. Just, you know.
No, but
I know what I've got to do.
Yeah, but I've never done anything like that. Yeah. So someone says, go and, you know, stack a load of towels and make them look appealing. Yeah. I can't tell you how difficult I found that. Yeah. Which used to frustrate me because I used to think, well, hang on a second, I had a very good job, made a load of money. Yeah. I can't stack towels so that they look appealing to the eye. This 17-year-old would come up, just change 5 and I'd go, wow, that looks amazing. Yeah. It really bothered me. But it just kept me busy and great group of people. I had a real laugh. I really did. I really did enjoy it. Yeah. And I did that for a while. I can't remember how long. It wasn't super long, but I got a lot of fondness for it. I really have. One of the best things I've ever done.
How did you find having 6 months off? I'm asking that for a personal reason.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. Did you find it give you a bit of a reset?
Oh, massively. You know, I've spoken to you about how I started at a young age.
Yeah, of course.
So I've never really
had that.
No, I didn't really have a lot of time of dossing around doing them. Yeah, I literally took that job because I worked out that I was quite comfortably filling all my days. Wake up, go for a walk, think, right, okay, what am I going to have for dinner because I was trying to eat better. Go to the supermarket, get the stuff, walk back, get all my steps done. Then I'll start prepping my dinner. Before you know, it's dinner time. And I'm like, that's great. Yeah. And that was every day. Yeah, honestly, mentally it was fantastic. It just
give you a bit of a reset.
Yeah, it was really good. It's really good.
You don't realise when you're in such a high pressure environment, which you're obviously working in for a long time, you know, going through different phases within Greenham's. Yeah. You know, it does take a bit of a toll on you at the end of the day. And sometimes
not intentionally, but you get an autopilot.
And it's not till you do stop, that maybe you realise actually, you know, I was a little bit burnt out in that scenario. So you've had your 6 months off.
Yeah.
I suppose we're getting to the entrepreneurial side now. Yeah. So where does BeGreen come into things? How did that start?
Well, as I said, I had a good job at Greenham's or Bunzl. But when I was doing that, I used to think, I wonder if this is because I'm an average player in a good team or whatever. So I always had this thing about, should I maybe do something myself? And I never really acted upon it, but I started to think about it. Then I was in contact with my my best friend from school. I've known him since we were 3 in nursery together. And he was in a corporate job, but before he went into a corporate world, he had his own cleaning business. So we went out for a couple of evenings, things like that. And then he just said to me, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know. I've always thought about doing something myself, or I'll go and get another job, managing teams or whatever it is. Not necessarily in the same industry, but just
similar skill set.
And he just said, why don't we do something together? And interestingly, when I was at Greenham's, when I was at Greenham's, he came to me when he had his cleaning business and said, I need someone to help me run this business because I think I can make a massive go of it. It's doing well, but I need someone, and I can't think of anyone other than you. And I laughed and said, I'm not doing that, because I was on
on that trajectory.
Yeah, and I was like, no, I can't do that. And he said, why don't we do a cleaning company? And I laughed and said, why would I do that? And he said, well, I know how to run a clean business. You know how to run a business. I think we'll make a good go of it.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, let's have a think. I went away, came back and said, yeah, okay, let's do it. But I want to do something that sort of gives back, not just consumes.
Yeah.
I don't want to be ironic, as this will sound to lots of people. I just don't want to be focused on how much money we make. It has to have a wider good.
Yeah.
And he felt the same way. And that's why I said, okay, so we'll get into the ethical environmental cleaning market. And that's how it started. And then we used to meet at this hotel in Southampton. And sort of, started the business and have discussions and debates over what the name is and things like that. And we just started like that.
Yeah.
So we literally bootstrapped it. So I didn't take a loan out. He didn't take a loan out. We didn't go, right, it is 10 grand.
Yeah.
We were literally like, okay, we need to pay for the registered the company.
Yeah.
Right, I'll pay 20 quid. And
that's the plus side of, cleaning businesses, isn't it? Really, and it's a plus and a negative, right? Because, right, what's the barrier to entry? Well, you just alluded to it. Really, there is none, is there? No. Really, you don't even have to go and buy any equipment because you've probably got it in your house to start.
Yeah.
Right. So there's the low barrier to entry, which makes it appealing to everybody. What made you go down the green route? Is that something that you've always been into, or did you think it was just a USP that the market was moving towards, or?
No, it's fair to say it is a USP in that regard. But as I sort of alluded to earlier, I kind of got to the point in my life where I thought I was just consuming and what's in it for me, and it didn't sit with me around. And I thought I've got to do something different. So, I'd sit and have meetings in my old job. And if, the question really is just how much money are we going to make?
That's the corporate wealth for you, isn't it?
Just get on with it then, or no, not worth it for that. You got to make money, but I wanted to try and do something that had a positive effect.
Yeah.
So the ethical and the environmental cleaning piece for me, and as you can hear, I'm coughing away, I'm asthmatic. And I do believe that you can have great cleaning without having to resort to constantly using chemical.
Yeah.
You can get great cleaning results. And sometimes, you can argue you get better because of the nature of the products and things like that. So I just wanted to do something so we're a triple bottom line business, really. Okay. So we're people, planet, profit.
Right.
So we make decisions on 3 fronts. Can we make money? Does it harm the planet? What does it do for people?
Yeah. So I see on your website, first thing that you come up against is plastic, all your environmental impact scores straight up on your website.
So it's a little bit like saying we could buy that moped and it costs, and we'll make £1 using it.
Yeah.
It's looking at it and going, well, actually, we could buy that moped and we'll make 75p, not as much, but it's better for the planet and it's easier for the people to clean. And you go, right, well, then let's use that.
Yeah.
And then what you do when you start the business is, I'm quite pragmatic, I think, about environmental cleaning, little steps. So you make the changes as and when you can, when your business can sustain it. You go, okay, let's stop using that, start doing that. Let's stop doing that and start doing that. And that's just the approach we're on. And I certainly don't think that we are in any shape or form here to kind of go to people, this is what you do and this is how you do it.
Yeah.
I get it. All we're trying to do is our best. So, I'm quite happy to share techniques and ideas of other cleaning companies. I think it's the right thing to do. But that's how I look at it and think, well, okay.
How did you, when you started the business, grab a water.
Excuse me.
How did you find, so you've got your green initiative, because the industry, I find, is most customers are pretty reluctant against green cleaning because they generally think it's more expensive.
It is.
Generally.
Yeah.
Not taking into account the cost of use and all those bits and pieces in between.
Yeah.
How did you find that? How did you get over that barrier? Do you find customers go to you, oh, well, no, we're not really interested in that because it's going to cost us more money? Or do you find they're relatively susceptible to green initiatives now?
I would say to you, it depends where you fish.
Yeah.
So certain conurbations are more receptive.
Yeah.
Certainly where there's more money.
Of course.
So if people have more of an affluent lifestyle, they actually do want to pay it.
Okay.
And then, in the bigger cities, it's not so much of an issue.
Yeah.
Or it depends on the client as well. But I kind of turn it around and say, there's great cleaning, doing good, and it's market competitive.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you have an ethical green cleaner?
Sure.
You're not really paying a premium and you're getting all of this.
Yeah.
So
I tend to find it's, the bigger companies that tend to buy into it a little bit more because they've got their ESG and they've got targets and things like that.
Thanks, mate.
We don't want any deaths on the podcast just yet.
For us, fun.
Yeah.
The viewing numbers go through the roof.
Yeah, sure, yeah. I find cleaning from a sustainable practice is easier at a top level because they're not as sensitive to costs, like you said. Yeah. They understand all the benefits. It looks good from a PR point of view as well for the particular company. And then, say you've got the ethical part of it.
Yeah.
Do you find it's easier to do it at that level rather than someone that's, mind you, I suppose we don't work with people that go, oh well, I'm just worried about price. If someone declares that, I'm out straight away.
You kind of go,
yeah.
And my words to them would be, in most instances, I don't think we're right.
Yeah.
So, go find the people you want. Or even sometimes I'll go, that's not us, but maybe someone like that would help you out. It depends. I mean, I find a lot of charities and small businesses care about it. And you're right, in some businesses you have to go to the check person and go, why aren't you doing that? Mm-hmm. And they suddenly go, oh yeah, we hadn't really thought of it. So they look at the direct spend, not their indirect. Sure. And that's where I can go,
highlight them other bits and pieces. Yeah. Was your business partner on the same page as you when it come to that? Or was there a discussion that you had there?
Yeah, he's on the same page. I mean, we're different people. So there'll be instances where I might think one thing, he thinks another, but fundamentally we're on the same page. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not an issue.
No. Do you find what's the common thing you come across in the industry? Like a common misconception about cleaning sustainably that people don't, understand or don't buy into, that you have to educate people on all the time?
I'd say there's a couple of things. I think people think you're back to bicarbonate lemon juice.
Yeah.
And you go, no, that's not what we do. There's certainly that avenue. There is this avenue about, it's going to always cost me more.
Yeah.
And I would say, no, it doesn't really, not at all. Those are the two areas I find that people think that's how you're going to do it. And that's why you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it won't be as good.
Yeah.
But, I know a lot of really big global FM companies that will clean quite sustainably.
Yeah.
They get it, and it's on such a scale that it works for them. I've just looked at that and said, well, I can't do all the things they do, but I could take 5 or 6 of them and just give them to the smaller end user, and that's all I've done. But that's the thing. People think you're going to turn up with a lemon and buy carbon. You go, no, it's not like that. I have to professionally clean.
Do you think there's a problem within the cleaning industry when it comes to greenwashing, i.e., companies saying how sustainable they are? We manage this process like this, and we use these products, but really back of house, when you get into their cleaning cupboards, they don't. They're using the cheapest product they can find.
Yeah, I think the problem is what I always look for though. If you're going to do that, I think it's the intent. If you know you're not doing the right thing and you talk about it in a different way, that's intent. I think a lot of them talk about it and do think that's great. Yeah. And you kind of go, there are better ways of doing it. So for me, it's the intent on it. If everyone's trying to do something, then that's got to be good for all of us, surely, isn't it? Yeah. It may not be the best, I get that. But, 5 years ago, they might have been, washing with bleach, and now they're using an all compostable sachet.
Yep.
And you can go, well, there are better ways, but that is markedly better than bleach.
Yeah, it's making a step in the right direction.
That's it. And I think just as education comes about, that's why I don't look to judge people. I'm only going on what I know. And I'm open to having my views corrected or learning more to go, actually, that is a better way now. Let's try and achieve that. So I don't think anything gets achieved by berating too much. But greenwashing, certainly is out there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How's the business journey been the past 4 years with BeGreen?
Well, it's been amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's growth been like? Massive? Millions in the bank, as most people say straight away? What's the reality?
I'm making it rain. Yeah. I can't complain. It's been good. We grow consistently every year.
Good.
What I don't want and what I've never wanted is a feast and famine business. So, there's this thing called the Pareto principle in business, which is 20% of your clients give you 8% a year.
Yep.
I don't particularly want that because that 20% fundamentally shaped my business. So if one of them closes down, goes somewhere else, I have to make some noticeable changes to my business. And I've done that in my previous, and I don't want to do it anymore. So I look to spread the load of clients.
I think that's a wise choice in business generally. I mean, there's a good lesson there.
Yeah.
I've actually got personal experience of a family friend that had all their concentration with one large customer. Management changed at the top. They were out, and literally they couldn't recover. They couldn't recover it. So that's a valuable piece of
and
business.
they lose heart.
Yeah.
So we grow consistently. We started before the pandemic.
Tough time, right?
Yeah, it was a tough time. I'm smiling because my business partner was working, so I was sort of doing all the background work.
Yeah, of course.
We got to Christmas and he said, I'm going to chuck the job in. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you sure? He's like, yeah, let's do it. And we're sat working somewhere, and I think it was about 3 weeks later, and
COVID
popped out and said, we're locking the government down and we're locking the country. And I really laughed. I was like, if you held on for 3 weeks, and he's like, we ain't going to get any money. But it was the making of us.
Okay.
Because I figured if we can make money through that and grow, we'll do it anytime.
Mm-hmm.
And we did. I network quite a lot, and I always have done.
Yep.
And it's quite important to press the flesh, I think. So what started to happen was I get people ringing me up and going, our cleaners just left. And you go, what? Stop. And they go, no, they've quit. Because a lot of people were just cleaning offices 2-3 times a week. That was their own little thing.
Yep.
It's like, I'm not doing that. I could die. So we got 2 or 3 clients quite quickly that said, could you fill the gap? And we're like, yeah, that's fine. And it just sort of started to grow from there. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, there's going to actually an opportunity come out of this because lots of people don't want to clean, understandably. Mm-hmm. And we grew from that.
Yeah. Was you out in the early days of a business? You've got to be out on the floor. Yeah, on the tools, as we call it. Was you that process? How was that from going from a corporate world down to on the tools?
It was good. It was all right. I liked it.
That TK Maxx experience helped as well,
I
imagine.
Yeah, it did, yeah. And of course, I kind of looked at it like a workout. Yeah. Because I was keen fit.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah, that was all right. And how can you tell somebody to do something if you don't know how it's done?
I totally agree.
Yeah? Yeah. So I learned you know, I learned a lot doing that. And yeah, I found it all right, and actually got to know a lot of the clients.
Yeah.
So you know, we go and see them now. They'll go, "Oh, special occasion, is it?" And you go, "No. We keep our hands in still."
Yeah. What was it like bringing staff on board?
Well, that's different in the cleaning game, because what you find is people don't live to clean; they clean to live.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are trying to find the best talent possible for people that are maybe at uni, want some money.
Yep.
People that are retired. People on maybe income support benefit, just want a few extra hours. Or also people that have some sort of condition or illness that want to work, but they don't like crowds.
Yeah.
So, you know, that actually is a massive sea change to what I was used to.
Of course.
But fundamentally, it's okay once you understand it and you know what to do and how to do it.
Yeah.
We're okay. I mean, we still get challenges with people, but
Everyone does.
we try to be a little bit different. So we try to be more of a community for our team.
Tell me more about that.
So, you know, I'm going to use a cliche now, but we are digital first.
Yeah.
So part of what we try and do is everything is electronic.
Okay.
So we, you know, from quite an early day, we use an app.
Yeah.
Puts their job on there.
Fine.
Shifts.
Yep.
Tick lists of what they got to do. You know, sort of trying to make it easy.
Yep.
Also a degree of accountability, clearly, but trying to make it easy, because if you've got someone cleaning 4 or 5 places, they may not remember when they go in this office that actually somebody wants them to do the washing up there.
Yeah.
And you learn quickly and go, that's not because they don't care, it's because they don't realise. So we do that, but we have this app that we use, but we try and make it fun. So it's a bit of a, like an intranet really. So there's quite a lot of chat goes on in the evening. Yeah. Rather than you clocked in.
Yeah.
Where's this? It is partly that, because that's how we run a business.
Of course.
But it is, you know, it's always very nice when someone says, I'm not really feeling it tonight. You know, there's good and bad in this, but you get, I'm not feeling it tonight. I'm not very well. And someone else go, I'll cover you. It's fine. So in a way you go, that's really lovely. And then you also think, yeah, but you need to check with us really. But
yeah. That's where culture comes in to the fray though, isn't it? You know, because if you don't have good company culture and you've got that, you know, that more dictatorial process like you was talking about, you haven't clocked in, where if there's more of a community there, in those scenarios where you need someone to cover or someone's ill, you've got that rapport that you can reach out to someone and they're more likely.
It benefits the business, it benefits us, but also isn't it just the right thing?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know many people that get up and go, I'm going to do a rubbish day's work today.
Yeah.
They don't. People go to work and want to do their best. What you've got to realise is, how can you help them do their best?
Yeah.
And even if it is cleaning, because that's the thing, people are just cleaning. Well, give them the tools they need, help them out, you know, and show them the way and show them that you care.
Yeah.
Because there will be a moment where they'll be cleaning somewhere and they'll think, I don't want to do that. Or, that ain't on the
I'll
list.
miss that today.
Yeah. And then they'll go, do you know what? They're all right.
Yeah.
So, but I'll just go back to it. It's not for that reason. It's just, it's the right thing for people.
Yeah.
I think.
Do you find when you're recruiting staff, that's a buy-in for them when you tell them about your green credentials?
Depends on the age group.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. University, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the younger generation are more buy into that.
Yes. They'll 9 times out of 10, they'll go, that's what caught their eye in the
Oh, really?
Mm.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So 4 years in a business, still relatively young. You're still enjoying it. Have there been any real standout moments for you in that short 4 years so far that you look back on fondly? You think, you know, that was a good day. I enjoyed that. Really stick out. Or has it just been all one big blur and it's all been enjoyable?
That's a good question. There are some good moments. We've got into festival work.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not by design.
Yeah.
And this year we did Boomtown.
Okay.
So because they're Winchester, we're Winchester.
Yeah.
It works like that. And don't get me wrong, it was really hard work. It was really hard.
I bet.
Really, really hard work.
How did you find that? Did you have to find varying volumes of staff for different days? And,
yeah, it's all of that.
Sounds like a pain.
So we didn't do the whole site, but we did cut the specific.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was hard work. But it was one of those things where you go,
After, yeah.
you know what? Actually, to be fair, they're quite. I think they're the second largest festival after Glastonbury.
Okay.
And you kind of go, oh, you did something right there then.
Yeah.
So that for me stuck out, and it's quite a festival, I have to say. It is.
Was you there in the work capacity, or was you enjoying yourself? Or both?
Oh, no, working. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I was going there to learn. So if we do it again, what do we do to make it better?
Make it better next time.
So I went there in a work capacity in that regard with the view of, I'll go watch those people and I'll go do that. But it's what I didn't comprehend, Chris, was the site is miles.
Yeah, of course.
So by the time you go, we do like 3 areas. It's like a 10-mile walk. And by the time you think, go and watch them, you're like, oh, they're a mile and a half. Well, I'm not doing that. I'm going home. Yeah. So I didn't really get to do much of that, but yeah, that was quite a moment.
The reason I asked that question is in a bit, especially in an early, people don't look back and reflect on, positive. And I've been there several times. You pass a big milestone or something happens in your business.
You celebrate the wins.
Yeah, that's quite big, and you think, you're back to not business as usual the next day, and you don't really reflect back on them. So sometimes it's good to go back and think.
Yeah, no, we do.
And that's a challenging environment to work in. Because we've done some work with Dreamland in Margate, similar scenario where you've got to fluctuate staff up and down. Yeah. You try and get 15 staff in and only 8 turn in, and you've got to deal with issues like that. So it's
that was exactly what happened.
It's a tough market, that one. On the flip side of that, obviously, as I say, it's still a relatively short amount of time. But in the 4 years, have you thought, I wish I'd stayed in that corporate world? No.
No, because there are downtimes, obviously, and there are moments where you think, but for me, and I wouldn't say it's because it's remarkably better or whatever.
Yeah.
You just focus on what you do, don't you?
Of course.
That's the sort of person I am. But I wouldn't swap it back. I don't miss, I miss some people there because I made a lot of friends.
Yeah.
And I just can't see them because they might be 200 miles away.
Of course.
It just doesn't work. But I don't miss that piece of it at all. I like what I've got now. Probably had a better car and that sort of stuff, but no, I don't miss it.
Not at all.
No. I think the thing is, if you run your own business and you sat there, or the way I look at it, as I'm sat there, I'm stood there thinking, not enjoying this. I think, well, this is my merry-go-round. So how did I get into this position where I'm not enjoying it?
Yeah.
What do I do next to make sure I don't get into that position?
Okay.
Because if not, that's the beauty of running it, is you go, it's all on me or it's all on us.
And you've got the capacity to change it if you need to, haven't you?
Yeah. So if you're in a position you're doing something you're not happy, I look at myself and go, I got myself here. What steps did I take that led me to happen to be like this? And I reverse engineer it and go, right, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. That's a great mindset to have. I don't think a lot of people take that.
I think it's the only one.
Yeah.
Otherwise
because you become a professional victim, don't you?
Yeah,
at the
you
end
do.
of the day, and you're a victim of your circumstance rather than your own actions, which 9 times out of 10, like you just alluded to, it's your own actions that got you to where you are.
Well, if you co-own the company, who else is at home?
What's the next steps in terms of growth? What plans have you got? What's next for BeGreen?
Are you on about the scale of the bit?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Still filling that out?
Well, part of me says go for it.
Yeah.
Part of me says just keep going at a consistent level, growing and growing and growing.
I think that's a better methodology, to be honest.
I'm not pushing it.
Yeah.
I'm not precious either way at the moment. And the reason I say that is because if I felt precious either way, I'd be doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, well, let's just see what happens. Lots of opportunities, lots of things to do, lots of great ideas, but there's plenty that we already do that we could do more of.
Right.
So I'm like, let's just keep doing that.
You've got it there.
Yeah. And then, a bit of festival work. We didn't plan it, and it just sort of suddenly you go, oh, we did quite a few festivals now, not tiny ones and things like that as well. But you kind of go, oh, we didn't strategically plan that.
Yeah.
So I quite like seeing where things go, where you just do a good job, do it well, add value. I think the best form of marketing is advocacy.
Yeah.
Someone talks about you in a positive way, I think you're 80% there.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier about networking. Do you still do a lot of that, Shaun?
Yeah.
Is that a big part of what you do?
Yeah.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like anything. You'll get out of it.
What you put into it.
Yeah. I mean, if you turn up at networking and think, right, there's 30 people in here, I'm going to get a client today. Ironically, I've had that happen to me twice, but it doesn't tend to work like that for me. I tend to find I just interact with people, get to know them, and then, I'll get a phone call a month later from someone saying, I'm a friend of Tim's, and you're thinking, Tim? And they're like, oh, I was talking to him and I need a cleaner. I'm not happy. And you go, oh, right, yeah, okay. And it'll be Tim at one of the networking groups.
That you've met before.
And of course you do it in reverse, don't you? You got to go, someone's saying, oh, I've got to get an accountant. You go, oh, I'll tell you, I was speaking to is.
No, an accountant.
And that's how networking, I think, works.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always struggled with that. I enjoy it in certain scenarios, but then sometimes I don't. I've struggled with that myself, but I know I think since doing the podcast and content and meeting lots of different people, I've definitely found the value in that, and I still know it's something I should do more of. Yeah.
Depends what you do. I mean, I think it's at HBN do the 60-second pitch. I'm not a member of them, but that doesn't bother me doing that in the slightest, but I fill in for people for them. But for me, I'm kind of like, that's forced networking. I prefer organic. Yeah. I think real relationships come out of that. And so I probably do at least one a week on average.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least one a week.
That's good. For anyone that wants to, or is getting into the commercial cleaning field, professional cleaning field, however you want to label it, that wants to be more sustainable. Yeah. What would your number one piece of advice be, Shaun? What is the small steps they can make to, really start doing change? And you alluded to it earlier that they can only be, sometimes they could be subtle changes, but what would be the easiest and number one piece of advice you'd give someone that's looking to be more sustainable with their cleaning company?
At a conceptual level, I would say to people, stop thinking of things as disposable. Think of reusable. Yeah. And apply that methodology. Okay. Where you can. Yeah. And when you can. Yeah. So, we use a lot of speed mops, flat mopping systems from microfibers. Yep.
Washable rather than disposable.
Uses less water. Yep. On lots of floors, they're actually better. Costs you a little bit more money to buy one, but actually cost and use will pay for itself. Yep. And in time and everything else, it's things like that. And then even if you do go back to what's classed as a traditional dolly mop or a Kentucky, pay £1 and get the ones that can be washed.
Yeah. So you can use them over again. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Reusing stuff, right? Because we're guilty of that in the industry, aren't we? About everything's disposable at the end of the day, single-use plastic, mops.
But the world is. The world's disposable, and I think it just sort of, I think I said it earlier. I got to a point in my life where I just felt consumed, and it's actually it can be fun to work out a way. I mean, I'll give an example. I haven't bought. I haven't bought a new vacuum cleaner in 2.5 years. Okay. I buy second-hand Henrys and Hayes. And strip them down, put new parts on them.
Get back in
the circulation. Because they're workhorses.
Oh, yeah, for that. We've destroyed one on our YouTube channel.
But
we'll try to.
They don't tend to die. No. So change the hose, change the wand, change the head, clean it, put a new bag in it, and you go, well, that's good to go for... Yeah. And ironically, I'm reusing a product that someone disposed of. Yeah. And it cost me less. Of course. Which means it costs the client less. Yep. And that's where you learn and go, oh, hang on a second, that actually, and occasionally you get some faulty ones that will break down eventually. But when I've sat and done the analysis, I'm still like, that's a far more cost-effective way of doing it than purchasing a new one every time. So, yeah.
And straight away, you've alluded to there, you're saving the customer money. So that perception of, well, green cleaning is going to cost me more money. Yep. You've just hit the nail on the head there. That actually is the direct opposite.
Well, I operate what's known as a circular economy. So I buy concentrates, mix them, put them into my triggers, or bulk 5 litres. And then I put them on the site. The operatives use them. We then go and pick them all back up, wash it, refill them. So I'm not chucking plastic. I'm reusing them. Yeah. Now, once you reach a scale, it's actually quite cost effective. So you might make a little less to start with, but once you've got 100 odd sites or whatever, you kind of go, actually, it costs us quite a lot of money to go back to buying triggers, dispose of, buying triggers, dispose of.
Yeah.
And we don't know any different. So that's just how we do it.
You've done it from the start, which is the best way to do it.
That's why I do understand with cleaning business has been going a long time, where they kind of go, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And I go, I get it. And I do know why you think like that. And I understand it, but I didn't know it. And I didn't have potentially the more profit from that process. So I don't miss what I've never had.
Yeah.
And I knew that when I did it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you're a lot more agile when you're smaller, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's logistics, but
yeah.
You know, but it just
try and do that in £100 million cleaning company that's got 4,000 sites or whatever with you know thousands of employees.
You can do anything. It depends how you want to set it up. I mean, we're not just in Hampshire, so we're down in Plymouth. We do a couple in London. We go in the Midlands. We go up to Hull, and we've just in partnership with those clients, set up little hubs.
Yep,
and got it going there. So you can do it. It's just, again, you have to have this thing that, okay, I might not make as much as I could, but fundamentally they like us because that's how we do it. Mm. So for me, it's a win.
Yeah.
They don't really want me to keep replacing triggers and stuff like that. They want.
It's a unique approach, and obviously, you know, it's working for you guys and your customers. Yeah. If the guys want to find you at BeGreen, where can they find you? What's your website?
It's www.begreencleaning.co.uk.
And you personally on LinkedIn?
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn. It's Shaun Brogan.
Yeah.
SHAUN.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on that. You can email me, Shaun@begreencleaning.co.uk.
Perfect. Any closing points, Shaun? Any takeaways? What's your parting comment for us?
I don't think the cleaning industry gets the respect it deserves.
I agree with you totally.
I think what you're doing is a great step towards that. But I also partly think that cleaning companies are creating that issue in it not getting what it deserves by talking about the market and other players in the market in a less favourable way.
Yeah.
If we don't value what we do, what our competitors do, I don't know why our clients would.
Yeah. I mentioned that on a post recently, you know, it's a tough industry, right? Mm. And, you know, we mentioned it before we started, you know, I could not guarantee you go on every cleaning site that we have and every cleaning cupboard is going to be immaculate without a red mop in a blue bucket by mistake at the end of a shift or whatever. You know, and to go around and point that out, like you say, you're spot on. And I think I'm glad you're probably the first person that's mentioned that on the podcast. I totally agree with you. I think we're our own worst enemy in the industry. There's no, I think we need a collective approach in many different issues. And I just think we're miles away from that as an industry, which is worrying, really. And I think back to COVID, I think that was an ideal opportunity for us to come together as an industry. It sounds a bit of a cliche, doesn't it? But and I think we missed that. And like I say, I agree with you. I never, no matter, if a client's called me to come and quote their cleaning, they're obviously unhappy or benchmarking it. I don't need to go there and start going, oh yeah, look at the dust there, or look at the cleaning cupboard. You know, it's just a cheap shot.
I've actually been to a couple of clients and said, what are you unhappy about? And they go, the standard of the cleaning. And I said, I've got to be honest with you, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Could you point out specifically what areas it is you think aren't correct?
Yeah.
Because I can't see them. And if you don't tell me what they are, I certainly can't pick them up.
Yeah.
And, you know, I sort of said to them, look, I think what you've got is pretty good, if I'm honest. You know, I'm happy to quote and work with you, but I can't see the real issue you've got, if I'm honest with you. But if you want to change, that's fine.
And I think sometimes secretly we know customers, they're saying that they've got, you know, oh, we've got an issue here. One, it could be a relationship issue. Two, it could be down to price. At the end of the day, they're benchmarking because they want a better price.
They do. You and know. I try and collaborate with other cleaning companies. So I'm quite happy I like to meet them. Yeah. How you doing? You all right? What is it? Is there anything I can do? And I have to say, I've been quite warmly received by a lot locally. Some a little standoffish, but I'm just like, look, how often are we ever going to quote against each other?
Yeah.
And if we do, wouldn't you, you know, I'd rather go. I'm quoting for that, just so you know. I can't not do it because that's cartelling. That's not correct. Yeah. But I just say to people, I'm not going to really, you know, in 4 years, I've never quoted against you.
Yeah.
It'd be better off having a discussion.
Yeah.
And I might know something and go, oh no, I get that there. Oh, where'd you do that? Oh, and suddenly, and I'm like, we should just share that.
I agree with you. And I think, you know, I don't think there's many, it amazes me because can be very secretive industry. Like everyone seems to think they've got something that the cleaning company next door hasn't. And the reality is, we're all pretty similar in terms of what we're quoting for USPs and supposed USPs and things like that. With the sustainable stuff, I do believe that there are only very few companies that really take that to heart.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think that's true.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I think, you know, in honesty, transparency, you know, we try and be as sustainable as we can. Is it top of our agenda day to day? Probably not, if I'm being totally honest. You know, if a customer's dead set on it, which some are, they specify we want these products, this process, then we'll happily implement that. But
and that's exactly my point. If you wanted to be better at sustainability, or you need to be, or whatever it is, what possible downside there is there to me showing you how I do it if it helps you?
No, exactly.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
There isn't any.
No, of course.
The worst that will come out of it is you'll think, he's all right, that bloke.
Yeah.
We had that issue. He gave us a couple of suggestions. That's it.
Yeah. It's about relationships, and we need more of that. So I think that's a great point to finish on. Well, Shaun, thank you for coming down.
Cheers, Chris. Thanks for
inviting me.
inviting me.
A bit of a journey. As always, guys, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on your favourite podcast platform, make sure you leave us a review and subscribe there so you can get our episodes on a bi-weekly basis. So that wraps up another episode. Thank you again to Shaun. Make sure you check him out. We'll put the links in the comments below. And I'll see you guys on the next episode.